Hey, it looks like we are live. Everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Fat Guys No More podcast. I am Scott Patton, and also online we have Joe Bragg. Say hi,
That's
Joe.
me. I'm
That is.
Joe Bragg.
Um, Basically, we're a couple of guys who a few years ago weighed a lot more than we do now, and we both took completely separate paths.
Journeys. We use the word journey.
Journeys, yes, we took different journeys, not to be confused with a band or anything, but we went different routes and did different things. But I'm currently sitting at about 75 to 80 pounds lost. And Joe, how much have you lost?
As of this morning, it was about 53 pounds.
53. So between
it fluctuates from 63 to 53.
there you go. And
Exactly.
I think I've fluctuated a little bit as well. So basically, between the two of us, in the past couple of years, we've lost
A medium-sized human.
a high school female, probably 125-ish pounds. Um, the other couple of my friends, I call them Barman and Bevo. Joe calls them
Barnum and Bailey.
Barnum and Bailey.
They
Barnum
always-
and Bailey podcast.
Wait a minute. Are we allowed to say Barnum and Bailey? Is that trademarked or anything? That
That
may be
after the abuse, after them wanting us to call our podcast the Battle of the Bulge and calling me the General. It's,
I don't think I knew that.
well, it just happened on Sunday. You're gonna have to listen to some of their episodes now, so we could go back and forth with them.
I listen to them all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
They started a podcast 29 episodes and 7 Tour de France episodes ago. I happened to run into Barman today, and he told me that, and I said, "You're only 29 episodes in front of me," and he said, "Don't forget the 7 Tour de France episodes." So they were having a lot of fun with this. I was actually one of the only one of a few guests they've had. I was their first guest, and we talked about Tour de Pink and weight loss. And I've watched them have fun. I actually, they have a segment in every one called the Scott Patton Shout Out, where they talk about some insanity that I'm doing. I give them plenty. And I thought this would be fun to do. So the other day, I think it was Tuesday, I put on Facebook that all 3 of my social medias, Google Plus and Twitter, that I needed a sidekick. And a few hours later,
I was nominated.
Joe was nominated, but
I didn't request it. It was nominated.
But
my wife actually nominated me as well. Like, if Scott wants a sidekick, I think that's your job, actually.
Yeah, and
I had multiple nominations.
Joe has been my sidekick before. As a matter of fact, Joe was he was the best man at my wedding. So that's, if you check out Fat Guys No More Twitter, or Joe doesn't even know about this yet.
I saw it literally as we were about to start.
There you go, on Facebook as well. Fat Guys No More. You can check out pictures of us. I don't know what we were doing in the one. We had weight vests on, and the other was from my wedding. So with that we decided we put this all together. I borrowed a headset from work, which is fancy. And we're using a live stream, and then we're going to extract the audio and post it on Podbean and push it out wherever it goes. So that's why we're doing this and how we're doing it. We're going to try to do this on Sunday nights. Both of us have lives and things like that. But
our first attempt got pushed back, actually. Let's do it at 7. Okay, let's do it at 7:30. Let's do it at 8
or 8:20. Joe does have an advantage in that he has 2 brothers, Chad and OBB, also known as Steven, but he will probably be called OBB a lot, which stands for Other Brother Bragg. So if I'm missing or Joe's missing, you may end up with a Bragg brother filling in. They too have done a good deal of weight loss and getting more fit, so they fit right in with our clan. So am I missing anything, Joe?
No, I think that's it. Then
right.
What did we cover? Oh, okay, never mind. I see we're good.
The other thing we want to say is we're going to try and keep this to like 50 minutes ish long. We're gonna set a timer so when we start. Actually, there's a timer on the screen somewhere, probably. I don't see a timer. Oh well, we were gonna set a timer, and at 50 minutes we were gonna start wrapping up. So I set a timer for 50 seconds. So let's go 50. There we go. All right. So this one might run a little longer or a little short, but
it's our first one. Give us a break.
It is. It's not like we're experienced pros like Barman and Bevo. So now anybody who is one of my friends is going to know me. I'm a computer geek. Joe and I work for the same company. We're going to try and not mention that name too often. We both,
No.
Joe actually used to work for me, but I had to fire him. But I've worked for the same company for 8 years now.
Whoa. We need to clarify. He didn't fire me because I was bad at my job. I was really good at my job, but my brother also worked there, and we can't work together. So, and also not because we hate each other.
Okay.
Because the company has a weird policy.
Who made me fire you? Let's see if you remember the name.
I had no idea. I assumed it was Jim.
No, Jim didn't want to do it. It was HR, remember? It was that woman that always said no.
No, I have no idea. I can't remember
Tissa
her name.
Rump.
Tissa Rump.
Yep.
Wow.
That was Tissa Rump.
That's a name I hadn't thought of since I got fired.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm also a cyclist, and every year around July 4th, I train for the Peachtree Road Race. Joe and I have actually partaken in more running in the past. We ran the Silver Comet half marathon together, and we've done lots of lunch runs, which you'll probably hear a lot about lunch runs in our podcasts. I don't know. Is there anything else people need to know about me, Joe?
No, I think you're as long as they realize you're crazy. We may get an explicit lyric on this or explicit content. I'm probably going to say it's your fault more than mine.
My goal is to keep it PG-13, but
that means you get to say one F word per episode. I believe that's the rule there.
Is that the rule? All right. So far, I don't think I've dropped one, so I think we're good.
We're good. As far as I go, like Scott said, we've known each other for a number of years now, and mine's not cycling. Anybody that knows me knows I CrossFit. If you know anybody that CrossFits, you know they CrossFit. We can't shut up about CrossFit. So I do try to limit my CrossFit talking abilities. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to be that guy. But you guys are listening to my podcast, so you'll hear me talk about CrossFit.
And with that being said, one of the goals of this was to share our experiences with our weight loss, which yours was predominantly done in
CrossFit and running.
Mine was cycling. So there's going to be a lot of discussion of that, including I don't want to let the whole cat out of the bag just yet, but in the future, somebody else might partake in CrossFit, and somebody who doesn't ride a bicycle may partake in cycling. So we'll have
someone that probably hasn't ridden a bicycle, I would guess, in 20 plus years.
Well,
I don't know who that could be. We're going to keep that a secret.
So
for now,
I wonder who that could be.
Somebody didn't ride a bicycle today, and somebody did.
That is true. And the same can be said about yesterday as well, too. So, which is actually, I mean, do you want to segue into yesterday's ride, which is far more significant than today's?
Let's talk about yesterday's ride for you.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, yesterday's ride for you. And then I've got I don't want to say I ran today. Like, I mean, I run a lot anyway. But today was a good run, and I would like to talk about my run because it was a good run.
Okay. Well, at this point in my life, I have yet to declare yesterday a great day. It was a good day, I guess. I did a race called the Assault on Mount Currahee. It kind of made a shirt that looked like this right here. Now, see, you guys are listening to the podcast. We're gonna post this on the YouTubes as well, so you will be able to watch it and
hold it back up again.
Oh,
let me see this right again. Hold it up. It looks like, in case you're wondering, it looks like a paratrooper shirt. It's kind of army green. Is it army green lettering?
It's
and
gray
wording?
it's gray with green lettering.
Yeah, so it sort of looks like a paratrooper thing. It's a pretty nice looking shirt. That's me describing your shirt.
And if you were to use the Google and pull up Assault on Mount Currahee, you would find that. Now, for those of you who don't know me, for many years I've been involved in track cycling, and track cycling is done on a velodrome with at every velodrome in the world except the Dick Lane Velodrome in Atlanta, it's very flat. The Dick Lane Velodrome actually has a 4-foot climb on the home straight, but that's another story. Anyway, track cycling is done in very good conditions. There's no you don't race in the rain. You'll typically race in the summer. Many velodromes are indoors, and for years I just had this thing that I did not ride on dirt. I did not ride in the rain. I did not ride when it was too cold. And I most of all didn't ride up mountains. Well, last year I lost a bunch of weight and got stupid and registered for a ride called 6 Gap, which I rode up 6 mountains in one day, which sort of took away my I don't ride up mountains thing. I actually started liking it. Well,
if you would like to know more about 6 Gap, look at Scott's hat.
Yes, the URL is right there, 6gap.com. Anyway, about, I think 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was talking to a friend. Her name's Erica Aller, and she's a student at Piedmont University in Demarest, Georgia, I believe it is. And she's also, coincidentally, the U.S. National Criterium champion. Now, criteriums, for those of you who don't know, are very flat summer races that don't involve mountains or dirt either. But she determined that I needed to do this gravel race. And in a moment of weakness and excitement, I signed up to race a 35-mile race that goes up a mountain on dirt. And I started training. I went up and did the course about 3 weeks ago, and it was hard. And I got there, and my friend Jamie, who's I've known forever, he says it's only going to be 5% harder because the course is not as clean as it was when you rode it last time. And keeping in mind this is a dirt course, I don't know what clean means in this reference, but he said there was more debris. And he lied. It was at least 17.5% harder. It poured down rain. There was a temperature of 44 degrees most of the day.
What does debris mean?
Trees, logs, holes, mud.
You went mountain biking.
I did, and I was riding a cross bike to 31 millimeter cross bike tires, which were not really suited for this. And there were guys on full suspension mountain bikes going much faster than me, and they scared me. But anyway, it was truly to anybody who rode it, they pretty much agree it's the hardest 35 miles you'll ever ride on a bicycle, in good conditions. And yesterday the conditions were deplorable. I mean, the mud was deep and thick. I mean, you had to walk well, some people could ride through the stream, but I'm not that good. And I also had a huge problem. At the end of the crank arm, which is the thing that makes holds the pedals on a bicycle, there's a aluminum insert that holds the pedal in the carbon fiber crankset, and it's supposed to hold the pedal very tightly so you can pedal and make the bicycle go. Well, that aluminum insert came loose, so my pedal wasn't really connected anymore.
So I'm going to interrupt you real quick. My favorite thing so far about this is people are listening to this over a podcast. You're doing a lot of hand motions, and it's cracking me up. So you guys will have to go watch this. I mean, it's not like crazy, but he's doing some hand motions. You'll have to go watch it on YouTube as well. Anyway, yes. Continue on with
it is much like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
That's all right. I just leaned off camera, apparently laughing at you.
So anyway, the last 10 miles. The last 10 miles of the race, I was unable to stand up on a bicycle, which is something you do to stretch your legs out and to put more power when you're going up a hill or something. But I was determined to finish, even if I had to walk the last hill. And I did have to walk because I couldn't stand up to stretch, so I had to get off a few times. But I still made it. I still made the final climb within 30 seconds of my previous time. So I felt pretty good about that. And much like when I finished 6 Gap, it was to go from weighing 286 pounds about I guess it was a year and a half ago to riding a race that has mountain in the name. It felt pretty damn good.
And well, so you didn't finish last. Not that there's anything wrong with finishing last.
Somebody has to do it, and I did not, though. I was happy about that.
Somebody has to do it, and it's not you.
Yeah, somebody did. But at the same time, they did finish, and
that's right. That's pretty awesome.
There are a ton of people who did not ride that yesterday. Like, however many minus 100. How many in the world? There you go.
I'm raising my hand right now. I didn't ride that yesterday. In fact, I didn't do much yesterday, except I was gonna say I did work out a little bit. I take that back, and then somebody talked me into squatting heavy. That was a terrible idea.
So did that help you with this run that you wanted to chat about?
So I honestly figured it would hurt me because I went a little north of 300, which I don't normally do on a whim. Hey, let's squat 300 pounds multiple times. But so I did it, and I turned to my sister-in-law Jasmine, OBB's wife, and she was worried I was going to leave her during the run today, and I was like, well, this will help me slow down. So, but it did not hurt me as bad as I thought it would. The reason I want to talk about, Scott understands this. He and I used to run together during our aforementioned lunch runs. Today ended up being, it was supposed to be a 5-mile run. We kind of got lost a couple times. And then there was one point I ran and I saw a bridge to my left. You couldn't see that, but saw a bridge to my left.
Joe's now showing directions on his live.
Saw a bridge to my left, and I thought, if I run back by that, I'm going that direction. So then I ran that direction and totally got lost, and did some sort of trekking through the woods to find back to the main trail. But it ended up being a 6-mile run, just under a 10-minute pace, where I had to run back and forth, and I ended up staying with Jasmine most of the time towards the end. But seriously, one of the best runs I've had in a long time. So I was pretty excited about that. The day started off really, really crappy. On the way home, I talked to my wife about it, and she was like, you sound a lot different than this morning. This morning on the way to church, it was, I slept like crap. I'm mad at everything. I'm mad at this. This is stupid. I didn't have time to get dressed. And then, oh, wait, I stepped in cat pee this morning. That's right. My cat peed on the floor, and I stepped on it. So my day did not start off so great. On the way home, though, I was like, this is great. I had such a great run. We went out to eat afterwards. It ended up being a phenomenal day. But that being said, I was like an hour and 10 minutes late talking to Scott.
Yeah, and we did add some flexibility because we're adults now and we can stay up past 7:30 on a school night. So we're all right. Now, since we're talking about running, one of the things on our schedule that the plan to talk about was a strange Scott and Joe story. In order to really embrace the story, you have to understand where this all started. When I hired Joe to come work on my GGAS team, Global Gateway Application Support team, I told him that I was I ran at lunch and that he should go on the lunch runs. So Joe was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to run with you on the lunch runs." And he was saying everything he should say at an interview. And then he gets to work.
Nailed the interview.
Oh yeah, you rocked it. You made that interview your bitch.
I did. I nailed that interview. So proud of that. Probably one of my proudest moments, I swear, right there.
You'd probably still regret it some days.
Yeah, some days. Some days. We'll see how the podcast works out.
So keeping in mind, this, I believe, was in 2012, correct?
May of 2012, coming up on 6 years.
And in 2012, I had been that was the year that I decided I wanted to break an hour in the Peachtree Road Race. So I was training like a madman running. It was completely the wrong training. It was the stupidest training plan ever, but I ran like every single day.
Hold on. I want you to know, just right now, 6 years later, I don't think I knew that. I just think I've learned that right now. And I probably would have been like, no, I'm not running with you if you want to run 6 miles in under an hour.
So we had this
go get Matt Reichard. He weighs 96 pounds. He could do it.
Out there. Yeah, but he rides a mountain bike now, but not very far. Wow, that's what we need to do. We need to have the Matt Reichard shout out in every podcast. So
one random Matt Reichard shout out.
So, well, that way he has to listen to it to know what we're talking about him about.
He made it like 20 minutes in. He got a shout out.
All right,
today.
So we've got the Barman and Bevo got the Scott Patton shout out, and we'll have the Matt Reichard random he's not involved.com shout out. But anyway, so I invite Joe to go on a run, and I said, how far? He says, how far are we gonna go? I'm like, it's about 5K. So we take off, and how far did you make it before you had to walk? I don't remember.
It was less than a half a mile. It might have been close to a half a mile, but I would guess 600 meters. So what's that?
About a kilometer.
It's bad. It was bad. It was not.
So
it was not even half. Was not even half a mile.
So I didn't want him to feel bad, so I was trying to go slow and run with him. And we went about another 600 meters, and he walked again. And we were almost to a place we called the BGF, the Big Gay Forest. Oh, there we go.
Which is the 1 mile loop right there.
Yeah, it was from our old office to the front gate of the BGF. It is exactly 1 mile. And Joe just says, "Isn't the office right over there?" And I'm pointing to where he pointed, of course. And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm done." He just walked back.
Well, hold on. It was a little bit more than that too, because this is what happened. I was like, "How?" You get the alert, and you get the alert in your head that 1 mile average pace, 16 minutes or something, whatever it was. And I'm dying, and I'm like, how much further are we going to go? And literally his response was, I don't know, 2 or 3 more miles. Okay, I just did 1 mile in 16 minutes or so. I would love. I need to go back and look at the pace, but no, 2 or 3 more, 2 or 3 miles, 2 or 3 miles. Finger quotes here. We don't know. We may go around the 4/10 loop. No. This is not happening. I was like, I got that. I'm just going to walk back to the office. I'm just going to take a shortcut back to the office. It's maybe a half a mile back. You just go for your run. That was our first running experience together. Oh my God, that was terrible. That was pretty.
The scary thing is, he came back for many more runs.
That was pre CrossFit for me.
Yeah, that was pre getting fat again and again. But yeah. There was a couple mountains in the middle. So anyway, back to the story at hand. Now the BGF, the Big Gay Forest. The Big Gay Forest is a forest where men go to be gay. Literally. I can't, without going into the whole story.
No other way to let's say that. It's just forced for people to go be gay.
And they do go behind the bushes and be gay, but
we've never seen anyone be gay there.
No, but
there are articles written about the gayness that goes on there.
Yes, if you are curious, Google A.L. Burris gay men. Boom, you'll find.
We have been approached by there. At least I have been approached there. Scott's seen some weird stuff. I'm sure it'll come up later.
That dude in the sailor suit, that was really weird. The dude in white shorts and a sailor shirt, that was weird. But anyway, so Joe and I are running through. There's a creek that runs through the BGF. And one day, in June or something, Joe was actually running faster than me on this particular day, and he was up the hill, and he stopped and turned around as he saw me do the strangest white man hurdle of an inch-tall snake anybody has ever seen.
Hey, you got to realize something. When you're looking at Scott, if you know Scott, you know what he looks like. If you don't know Scott, and especially before he lost all his weight, you were a pretty big fellow back then. How big a boy were you?
May of 2012, I was probably 235 to 245 pounds.
Yeah, you were a pretty big boy, and you got those cycling legs.
Yeah,
big old monster cycling legs. So, when a big man like that jumps in the air, I swear to God, he probably cleared 5 feet. And I mean, the highest you could see a big man jump. You take notice. Like the guy was, I mean, I don't know if you screamed. You might have screamed. I think you were like, "Whoa!"
I think I said "whoa." But it may have come out more like a girl screaming. It's very possible. So Joe's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "There's a snake." And I'm like, "What kind is it?" And he comes back and says, "Yep, that's a copperhead."
It was the first wild copperhead I had ever seen. As somebody that's a snake lover, not every snake in the South is a copperhead or a rattlesnake. It's the first one I'd ever seen in the wild. So what did I do? I got excited.
Oh, he was very excited.
I'm a snake lover. I'm not scared of snakes at all. Snakes are good. I like snakes. And I'll argue to the death with you.
So anyway, Joe says to me, "Can I pick it up?" And I said, and this is a quote, and I know this for a fact, and you'll know why more in the story. I said, "I'd rather you not, because I don't want somebody picking up a snake and dying in front of me." So Joe respected that. And
I did. Remember, he was still my boss at the time. At this point right now, you're not my boss anymore. I may pick it up. No, that's not true.
I don't. And of course, we had to take selfies with it, or at least take pictures of it, and we can produce photos of this snake if you'd like. But so then you went. Now tell your side. You went back and told OBB and about this, or
yeah. So if my love of snakes is anything, it is nothing compared to OBB's love of snakes. That dude is crazy about snakes. Sent him a picture of it. Look what I found, and he immediately gets super jealous and asks, Did you keep it? Did you pick it up and keep it? That's the brag brother way right there. We want to keep these things. No, I did not keep it. But the funny thing is, like a day later, or I want to say it was the next day, or maybe the weekend following, OBB headed up to A.L. Burris Park, which we know he doesn't live near. He headed up there to find that copperhead. He is, I think, still to this day, he's never seen one in the wild.
He didn't get,
yeah.
But what Steven said, why didn't you pick it up? And he says, well, Scott said I'd rather you not. And he goes, he didn't say you couldn't.
My wife is very appreciative that Scott rather not, and I honored that one.
So
the Bragg brothers, we're not the smartest. We're not. I'm not. Nobody ever said I'm smart. All right.
Scroll forward, I guess a couple of years. I don't remember the exact time.
Yeah, it's a year or two.
We're running through the BGF again. And this time I think Joe was behind me, and I hurdled another copperhead, so he's now seen me hurdle it from in front and behind. Well, this one I quickly said, do you want to pick it up? And this is after Joe and his wife had a baby. And Joe, he suddenly just decided no.
I'm a smarter man because of it.
So then we do one of our stupidest or craziest things.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm a smarter man because I had a baby. So what did we do? I'm going to poke it with a stick.
and because he wants to poke it with a stick, he wants me to film it. So I take his iPhone, and I'm trying to film a copperhead in a bed of leaves getting poked with a stick. Now, I want you to picture a copperhead on a bed of leaves. Copperheads were designed to be hidden in a bed of leaves. They have 110% natural camouflage. And when you're trying to see it through a 4.5-inch screen while your friend is poking this highly poisonous snake with a stick, it is very challenging and very nerve-wracking.
It is on YouTube, by the way. It is loaded on my page. And
this is where we're supposed to say we're going to put that in the links below.
Links right
like
there.
And subscribe. Like and subscribe.
It'll be on there. Maybe we'll find a way to put it on this YouTube page. I don't know how to do that. Do we have our
I don't
YouTube
think you
page,
can put it on.
Just go to you.
It's my. We're gonna when we become famous, we may have to figure out how to create a special YouTube page for this. But for now, you have access to update the Twitter and the Facebook, but you won't be able to do the YouTube.
I'll send you the link. Also, in case you're wondering, Scott, I don't know if you've ever been diagnosed with ADD.
Oh yes, I have.
Cool. I've not, but yeah, that's because I didn't go to the doctor. So there may be rabbit tracing a little bit in here, and hey, we're gonna talk about snakes on the trail, and now we don't have a YouTube page.
Yeah,
that's how you get there.
And somehow we've avoided talking about my terroristic backdrop.
Look, I'm telling you right now, I'll keep looking over there, and I'm like, dude, that's bad. That's bad. See, I was wondering. I was like, should I do my look? If you can't see, oh yeah, you can. There's some of my wash stuff over there. That's what I get. I get my wash stuff and a ball of Harry Potter.
For those of you who actually take the time to leave the Podbean, the iTunes, the Google Play music, and head over to the YouTubes and watch us and see our antics, which is just two guys talking back and forth. I have set up a luxurious recording studio, and I have a black backdrop. It's actually a sheet.
I'm gonna bad lip read this, and you're just gonna be all sorts of terroristic threats. That's what's gonna happen.
Egg roll.
I'd kill for a cookie. The yeah, I think yeah, you may get it'll be weird to listen to this unless you know us. But again, this is being our first podcast. We will talk. I promise we'll talk more about our weight loss journey and all that, and what's going on in our lives. But right now we're just chasing rabbits or chasing copperheads. That's how we do.
Well, actually, one of the things on our agenda is, in fact, a discussion of our weight loss journey. So, since you just decided to get out of it, why don't you?
Did you see that?
What is this?
That's how you
swipe right.
That's how you what's the segue? That was a great segue right there.
It was, man. It's like almost like I'm a professional at this.
We planned that.
So why don't you give us an overview of your dealio?
So my weight loss, I'd say, it actually comes kind of funny. Scott told me not, when we discussed this, let's not go back to 1973. Or you think you said 74. We're not going back to 74 because 1974 I was not born yet. But we will, for me, go to 1996. 1996 for me, I was 5 foot tall and about 95 pounds. I was always little. About the time I graduated high school, I'd moved up to I graduated in 2000. By the time I'd done that, I moved up to about 165, 170 pounds, and I never looked back up until really I probably had gained and lost weight most of my life. Got married in 2009. It took me a second to remember that. Got married in 2009. I'd lost almost all my weight, all the way down to 211 pounds. I was actually probably in the best shape of my life at that point. And then, as married folk have it, I think I gained 13 pounds on my honeymoon, and then I gained still 13 pounds every year for about 5 years. At the heaviest I was probably 2012. I think I got up to 258, and I kind of, when you step on scales with you're that big and you've never been that big, it was kind of it was emotional for me, and I was like, please, dear God, don't let me hit 260. So I started running at my old job. Got an interview with Scott, found out he's a runner through none other than Matt Reichard. Had a little inside help there.
Dip chicken strip of Matt Reichard.
He helped me out, so I mentioned that in the interview. But I found out he was a runner, and we got started on that. And oh my God, we never looked back. June 12th, I remember the day well. June 12th, 2012. So about a month after I started with the company. We'll just refer to him as the company. I like that.
Company. Oh, the company. Why not the firm?
The firm. I can deal with the firm. If we started with the firm, by the way, we're not attorneys.
No, we're not.
But I started there. My older brother, OBB, started CrossFit, and we started going to his house and doing CrossFit at his house. Never looked back at that point. We do CrossFit about 4 or 5 days a week. I still run a lot, but got down to about 230, 225 or 230, and maintained that for a couple years. Until a couple years ago, I really started taking my nutrition very serious. So it wasn't just working out anymore; it was working out nutrition. And since then, I'm pretty happy between 195 and 205. I can live my life at that point. With I've gotten as low as just under or just at 190, but that was super strict and no crazy Scott's type of diet that he does. My diet mainly consists of just eat real foods. I try not to anything's processed. I try to avoid,
except those M&Ms that Kirsty brings in.
God dang, those things are evil. I love them so much. The one thing you'll see though, if you ever see, I fluctuate between 195 and 205, but mainly because our friend Christy brings in M&Ms. When I'm super strict, I get down to about 190. When I'm super strict on my diet, I get down to about 195. When I'm not super strict and the Thanksgiving and Christmas gets here, I bulk up a little bit. So that's where I'm at now. Honestly, it's one of the better parts of my life is my wife and I do it together. So that really helps me I said it sounds cheesy, but I don't think I could. I wouldn't. One or two things, I would work out all the time, and I would be a really big fat workout guy. That would be what would happen there. If it weren't for her cooking, good Lord, I wouldn't know what to eat. I would live off pizza rolls.
There you go. And how many times a week do you guys do you CrossFit?
I coach a 5 a.m. class 4 days a week. I work out at 6 a.m. during that 4 days a week. I usually do a Wednesday night class and a Saturday morning class. So honestly, I probably get at least 6 workouts in a week. There's some days where I come home and it's been a rough day and I'll want to go down to my basement. I have a almost fully stocked gym in my basement. I'm missing a couple things, but I'll go down to the basement and do another workout down there. So I've been known to do 8 or 10 workouts. That being said, my workouts are generally 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not doing 3-hour bike rides like Scott.
Yeah, it's definitely a different paradigm.
3 freaking hours. I don't know how you do that. Every time, look, you can also, not Fat Guys No More, you can, if you know us, you can track us down on Strava. And you see that I'll run 30 minutes and Scott will ride for 2 hours and 29 minutes or something stupid. And I'm like, all right, I feel like a big crazy guy because I just did a 30-minute run and I'm dying, and he's out there for 2.5 hours.
It's true.
You'll probably see this on the Facebook. There are pictures of Scott riding his bike as I drive past him in my car.
Yeah, we'll get back to that one.
Snap. But anyway,
we'll tell that story later.
Another day.
So that pretty much wraps up Joe's weight loss adventures. Me, I'll just summarize the first 48 years of my life.
Go to 1993. I'm just kidding. Don't start there.
1993, I was fat. But my entire life, I've yo-yoed, and I'm still eligible to yo-yo, and I'm doing everything I can not to yo-yo. But the story really starts in the story really starts in October of 2015. I got back from a cruise and weighed 301.1 pounds, and I hated myself for that. I was pretty upset about it. It just was miserable. Then we went to, and that was in late October. And late October is a really, really, really shitty time. Oh, ding! There goes our E-tag.
By the way, you've done 2 now. You didn't catch the first one. Yeah, you didn't catch the first one.
Okay, but I knew that I was going to, that it wouldn't work out. So I figured on January 1st of 2016, I would start losing weight, and I did. That year happened to be the first year of the Tour de Pink South, and I was registered for it, and I started riding some, not enough, but some. And I started eating right, whatever that means. And I did lose, but I got down for Tour de Pink, which was in mid-April. I was down to about 265. I then didn't ride my bicycle from the end of Tour de Pink in April until August, when a good friend of mine posted on Facebook. I used to make jokes. I don't remember exactly what he posted, but he posted something about not being able to go for a bike ride because he was so out of shape. So I decided I'm going to go for a bike ride and see if I'm that out of shape. And I was that out of shape. I went for a 15-mile ride, and it was miserable, which just made me more depressed and hate myself even more. And about 2 weeks later, Memorial Day weekend, I was sitting there, 48 years old.
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day, thank you. I always get those swapped. But yes, it was definitely Labor Day weekend. And at that particular moment in time, I weighed 286 pounds, 286.6 according to my digital scale. And I decided on that day that I was not going to be fat when I turned 50. And I turned 50 in like 45 days or something, 60 days. I don't know. March 29th, there. It makes it easy. You
do the math. He's old and I am not.
Thanks, man. But so I created a Facebook page, and I created my own hashtag.
Yet. You got 45 days to not be old.
All right. Thanks. I created my 50 not fat hashtag, and I started riding more and more, running and riding more and more. And I was What the hell was that?
That was on your end?
I think OK Google just kicked off or something. That was weird. Okay, we
I,
have
th- I,
strange.
I thought Mrs. Patton was getting on to you or something.
Nah, she's upstairs. But anyway, so I created my own hashtag and I started working out. In October, I was not losing weight as fast as I wanted, and Tom Machado told me about keto, and I thought he was crazy because I'm an endurance athlete. I go for 3-hour bike rides, and it's impossible to not eat carbs and ride for 3 hours. And I ran into a dude, AB Dada. He's an interesting character, but on a cruise also in October, and he told me about how great it was and you could do it and this, that, and the other thing. And I researched it and I decided I was going to try for 1 month the keto diet. For those of you who don't know, it's LCHF, low carb, high fat. And basically, if you keep your carbs below 25 grams a day, your body burns fat for energy. And all the naysayers out there, including myself, will tell you it's absolutely impossible to do endurance activity while doing that until you become fat adapted. And that's through a suffering period in which you really can't ride for more than about an hour and a half before you bonk. But I set out on the journey to try it out. And over the next year, I brought myself down to about 205 pounds. I have dabbled below 190, below 200 a couple times. But much like Joe, I'm about 1.5 inches taller than Joe, so I get a few more pounds than him. I also, as he pointed out, I have those huge cycling legs. I look at weights and my legs grow. So that's my story. I've lost a lot of weight through keto. I don't eat. It's net carbs, by the way. So I do eat vegetables and stuff like that, but mostly vegetables grown above the ground. I do dabble in gummy bears when I'm during a bicycle ride, but that's about the only thing I do.
You know what he dabbles in? I can tell you this. Scott, pick up the can you're drinking out of. See, that's one thing that I cannot do when I'm being super strict. Can't do it. It's a weakness of mine.
I do drink diet sodas. And there's
Zero
probably going to be
carbs.
some 0 calories, except actually Diet Mountain Dew, which I do occasionally drink, does have you are using up one of your carbs when you drink one. But anyway, that's my story. And Joe and I have gone on this journey together a few months ago, and I don't know, you had a weight vest on in that picture, so I'm not sure if it was that day.
No, it was, and I did it for I think I may have wore 40 pounds worth, and you wore 80.
That's right. You have 2 weight vests. Okay. So when I had officially lost 80 pounds on my 50 not fat journey, I wanted to feel what it was like to be what I used to be. So Joe has a 40-pound weight vest and I have a 40-pound weight vest. And you wore the 20. That's what you wore.
Yeah, I wore a 20. I think I wore a 20 and put an extra plate in it or something like that. Because I think mine might have been. Maybe mine was.
It
20.
wasn't 80, so it doesn't matter. It wasn't 80.
You win that one.
So we then went for it was supposed to be a 1-mile walk, and basically from where we work to this one place is a little over a little over a half mile. So we walked down there, and we got down there, and I suffered the entire half mile carrying 80 extra pounds. And then I determined I was going to run back nonstop. And through the neighborhood we're going through, Joe and I really don't fit the demographic. And I can't imagine what anybody driving by thought as this 210-poundish guy wearing 2 bulletproof vest looking things waddling down the road attempting to go fast looked like. But what it did make me realize, it made me suffer for I guess it was probably 10 minutes for a half mile, I don't know. But when I took off the weight, the feeling of lightness, it was that was the reward for that effort. I actually felt this is what I've done for myself. I've given myself this much lightness, this feeling by losing 80 pounds. So
you took an elementary school kid off your back.
I did. So
no.
That's our weight loss stories in brief, and we'll probably talk about different chapters of them in the future. We're actually doing really good on time. So one of the things we wanted to talk about is Joe and I are active in various activities. We both officiate the sports we love in one way. I'm a bicycle racing official, and Joe, do you call yourself an official or what are you?
Judge, CrossFit judge.
CrossFit judge. And I have a few races lined up, but I don't know when and where they are, so we won't talk about that right now. But we also have, each of us on the same weekend, believe it or not, have an event going on. What yours is the Ragnar?
The Ragnar Trail Relay Race. Yeah, so it's a few of the guys from the gym. There's eight of us get together on in April, and it's what we actually went running today to train for this. 8 of us get together and run a relay race. Roughly everybody on your team runs. 8 people on your team. We run 16 miles each, 15 to 16 miles each. Not at a time. We run about 5 miles and then pass it off to somebody else, and then they run 5 miles nonstop for about 24 hours. So everybody ends up running 15 or 16 miles in a 24-hour period while sitting in a campsite and smelling really bad. If you can imagine 8 people that have just run 15 miles and haven't showered, what that's going to smell like at a campsite. That's what we're going to do. It'll be our first time we've ever done that.
If I can offer you one tip, I would go to Sam's Club and get the
portable shower.
I just had quintuple babies pack of baby wipes, and you can cleanse between efforts.
Oh, I'm sure there will definitely be. I'll take that. Baby wipes work. They smell delicious anyway. Not delicious. They smell good. You don't want to eat baby wipes. Please don't eat them. Look, people eat Tide Pods. Don't eat baby wipes.
Yeah. Oh, dude, could you imagine how famous our podcast would be if people started eating baby wipes because we mentioned it here first?
You know what? If they start doing it, I will claim that. I said it first. They're delicious. Okay, hold on. I want to tell you this story. We're gonna chase a rabbit. This happened the other day. So I don't know why we had marshmallows in my house, but we had marshmallows in the house and they were on the counter. And I have a weakness for anything that sits on the counter. I don't care what it is. If you put cookies on the counter, I'm gonna eat it. If you put something that's really gross on the counter, I'm probably gonna eat it because I like food. So generally, that's why we don't have sweets in the house because I'm gonna eat them all. But so my wife we had some marshmallows on the counter and I'm doing the dishes. So I grab a dishwasher tab, one of the little tabs, you put in there that closes
similar
the dishwasher.
To a Tide Pod, but for the dishwasher.
And I grab 2 marshmallows. Marshmallow. And I'm getting ready to close. Eat a marshmallow, do something. Eat a marshmallow, do something. You have no idea how close I came to putting a dishwasher tab in my mouth. I'm not even kidding you, within an inch and a half of my mouth. And I was like, what? That's not a marshmallow. I should probably stop eating marshmallows right now. So yeah, I came so close to eating, I don't know what brand it is, with a red dot in the middle.
Okay, so there you go. The Fat Guys No More tip of the night. If
don't
you're
eat
eating too many marshmallows, keep your dishwasher pods near them.
So you don't eat any.
They can
run defense. Tip of the night. We have tip of the night and Matt Reichard. That's what we have.
And coincidentally, at the rate we're going, I don't think our tips are really all that. I don't think we're going to get on the Today Show for them.
We are. You have no idea. They're going to be like, wait a second, this is a genius idea. Randomly put a Tide Pod in with your marshmallows. You'll stop eating them, and your clothes will smell like marshmallows.
Okay, so now that Joe's chased his rabbit, my event is an event that's near and dear to me, and anybody who knows me knows this. I'm surprised I don't have something pink visible. I'm actually not wearing anything pink right now. I had to check
this?
See if
Boom! I had something right there.
But I do. This year I'm doing 2 Tour de Pink rides for the Young Survival Coalition. Excuse me. These are 3-day bike rides. I'm doing the one in April in Tampa, Florida area. I'm also doing the one in late October, the West Coast ride, which is we start in Thousand Oaks. That's all I remember. I don't pay much attention to where we go. I just follow the arrows, the point, and stuff like that. But I'll be doing two of them this year. Last year I did all 3, South, East, and West. South will be my 7th, and West will be my 8th Tour de Pink. So as you go through these, listening to our podcasts, you will hear me begging at times for donations, because the Young Survival Coalition or YSC is a hugely beneficial nonprofit organization. And after my aunt passed away from breast cancer in 2013, I have tried to do as many of them as I can to raise money to help this organization help young women affected with breast cancer. So that's my big event coming up.
Hey, watch this. Look over here. It'll be down in that. It'll be in the link. We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the description.
Right. And up here, follow and subscribe. Or there.
I don't know which side it is.
Up here. One of these over here. Follow and subscribe.
Okay.
And like.
Bunny ears on.
Like, follow, and subscribe.
So
you'll hear probably, I'd say for me, the Ragnar training is really what's going on a lot in me. And then for the next 5 weeks, as far as CrossFit goes, the CrossFit Open is going on. So that's a worldwide competition. You'll get to hear. I'm actually hoping.
Is that when you guys all post like, how'd you do on 1802 or stuff like that?
Oh yeah, 18.1 comes up on Thursday. So
okay, and now, so for those of you that don't know and don't have a CrossFit obsessed pair of brothers working in your office, on that particular day, both of them will be scurrying around the office, staring at their phone, watching for the update of this to happen, and then they will scurry off to a remote location to discuss like some secret tribunal shit. Oh, there's 3. We're definitely getting the
CrossFitters are kind of crazy. We're a little intense. So that's going on the next 5 weeks. We're pretty excited about that.
And if I'm not mistaken, you'll get a score. So you'll tell us your score was like 72 or 83 or some
whatever
number.
Yeah, random number.
And
or 11
and then
minutes.
that number,
time score.
Based on that number, any of our listeners will be able to say, I could kick your tail, or, oh, geez.
Or, man, you're pretty fit.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
cool.
So it's a worldwide thing. So the really cool thing is, one thing I don't know if Scott, you can tell me if you guys do this in the cycling world, or if you guys, I don't know who's the best cyclist in the world right now. Who's the best cyclist in the world?
Well, that's a tough one to answer, because the one that is regarded as one of the top is currently under a drug.
Those damn druggies.
Yeah, that's one thing. I
said it that time. I got me on that one. I was so close. I almost made it the whole podcast.
I'm probably not going to talk too much about cycling and doping. We can talk about other aspects of cycling, but honestly, there's enough media talking about doping.
So there's you take the best cyclist in the world, and they have to do the same exact workout or same exact trail bike ride that Scott's doing, and he can compare himself to the best in the world.
We've got nothing like that.
And that's one of the cool things about CrossFit is Matt Reichard, who's won the CrossFit Games for 2 years in a row now, does the same exact workout for me. So I'll come in and be like, oh yeah, 18.1 or 18.2. I got 83 reps, and Matt Reichard did 296, and I'm going to go home and cry now. So it's something that we can compare ourselves, even normal people that struggle with weight loss and struggle with eating right and can't do any of the hardly movements at all. I can compare myself to the best in the world at my sport. So it's one of the cooler aspects of CrossFit.
I do think that is cool. I don't know how you would do it with cycling, although I will say that on the Zwift, on the
that's what I was going to say. Probably you'd have to do it with some sort of
virtual
rider.
Yep.
So it's pretty neat concept. That's what's going on.
We're starting to segue into random things to talk about. So I think we should probably do our wrap-up section, which we didn't document. But if you want to find us on Twitter or Facebook, my profile is wide open. I'm Scott Patton. I'm also at Scott Patton on the Twitter. I am the real Scott Patton on the Instagram. And that's probably enough places to find me. We also the podcast is Fat Guys No More at Twitter and Fat Guys No More at the Facebook. So you can check that out.
And you can find me at Twitter at Joe_Bragg, because at Joe Bragg doesn't use said Twitter. I don't know who that is, and I'm going to punch him in his face. Anyway, and Joe_Bragg.
At Joe Bragg is actually apparently a woman who was trying to get her husband to help her figure out Twitter 8 years ago.
Last update. Then for Instagram, you can find me at BraggBro3. I am the third Bragg Bro. So BraggBro3 for me. And I'm starting to get better at updating my Instagram. I'm pretty terrible at it. I update it once every 3-4 weeks.
Oh, completely unrelated other than its pictures. Our streak is reestablished. We're up to 3 days.
Heck yes, we are. Snapchatting it up. If you want to Snapchat, I think I'm Joe Bragg on Snapchat.
I think I'm Scott Patton 44 on Snapchat.
If you do want to follow me on Snapchat, follow me on Snapchat. And you really more, if you follow my story, you get to see my daughter more than anything.
Yeah, that is true.
Now I'll have to stop sharing that because you weirdos don't need to be seeing my daughter. I'm just kidding. You're not weird. If you listen to my podcast, obviously you're awesome.
So
obviously.
And again, I think this is a test. Barman and Bevo, this is a test to see if you made it to the end. I would like to thank you for giving me the inspiration to kick off of this journey. This past hour has been entertaining and fun, and I look forward to a week from now sharing, and we'll spend a week of coffee breaks coming up with ideas to ramble on next week.
And then you guys can see my notes that I take later. Look, hold on. I want to zoom in on this. Look. Matt Reichard. There it is. I wrote his name down. Weekly Matt Reichard. I'm done. Come up with my next
You know what's
week's,
hilarious?
idea.
I just checked to see if you spelled it right, because that saying I before E except after C, and I always say I before E except after C, and unless you're saying writing Matt Reichard.
Hold on. I'm gonna zoom in on this. If you notice, there's a line through the E because I spelled it wrong to begin with. I was like R-I. That's not right.
Why are we still picking on that guy? I can't believe.
I don't know. I love that guy.
I do too, but I mean, so
he hasn't worked for us in there with a number of years.
Yeah, since the old building.
Hey, do we? Here's the question, because we don't have an outro music. We need an out sound.
Well, see, here's the deal, and I thought about this. And
talk to Barnum and Bailey. Do they have an intro and outro?
They do. They play. Oh, geez, I can't remember the name of the song, but they exit with the Dukes of Hazzard song. But here's the deal. Their podcast isn't available on the Facebook because they have copyrighted music. So we need some non-copyrighted music.
Just the good old boys. Can I sing it? Is it copyrighted if I sing it?
If you sing it the way you just did right now, they'll never figure out.
Probably matters.
What the hell is it? It's in a Toyota commercial. I can hear the jingle, but I can't remember the song.
Zoom.
No.
Now you're angry. You're messing your computer up.
No, I'm gonna grab a hold of this here right now. We're gonna have a little illegal music because I'm gonna pull up the Barman and Bevo podcast and we're gonna get one started. There it is.
I think we need to end with some sort of it's really sad. Hold on, look at this.
Here it is.
That's Holiday Road.
Holiday Road. That's it. Yeah. We got to get that off so we don't get banned. Holy cow.
I want you to know, I am so sad with myself. Also, just so you guys know, if anybody's listening to this, if you can figure out how many movie quotes I come up with in the middle of a podcast that Scott, especially the ones that Scott doesn't catch, I will give you a high five. Virtual high five. But I don't think I did a single movie quote today. That kind of pisses me off. Now I'm angry.
Blame Matt Reichard.
Jerry Glanville.
Jerry Glanville.
So normally Scott doesn't care about baseball at all. But look, I'm wearing my Braves stuff today because pitchers and catchers reported this week. And I think actually the first game, did they have their first game today? I kind of feel ashamed. But I think we should end with some sort of rise up, or can we have Samuel L. Jackson send us off with a "What Do Falcons Do" or something like that?
We'll have to look into and find some publicly available.
Publicly available Samuel L. Jackson. What do Falcons do?
Yeah. If anybody could do it, it's Tracy. We'll have to get her on that.
There you go.
Tracy, can you get in touch with Samuel L. Jackson to get him to approve this for us?
Yeah, I'll see what you can do. I know you're friends with Samuel Leroy Jackson. You laugh.
All right, dude. We're gonna ramble on until an hour and 15, and if we don't cut this off, so
it's because your alarm didn't go off.
I turned it off when we still had a couple minutes. So I'm gonna take us off the air, and Joe and I'll wrap up, and I'll get this online shortly. And there you go.
Bye.
Bye. Peace.